I'm Megan Duchesne, and this is my Leadership Legacy Project for my exiting of the Leadership Honors Program. First, I'd like to talk about leadership practice. So while here at UTA, I was involved in many extracurricular activities. The most prominent probably being peer academic leader, because I was a peer academic leader for 3 of my 4 years. I was a flocker my first year. I've been a part of the Maverick Theater Company for 3 out of my 4 years. I've been a part of Broadway Mavericks for 2 of my years. The Musical Theater Advisory Council for 1. I was a part of ACT for the short little time it was here pre-pandemic. I've been the big little coordinator for the musical theater program this past year, and I am currently the prospective student liaison for the musical theater department. So all of those are clearly very different things, a lot of which has to do with musical theater. Obviously, that is my major, but then some outside of that, LHP, Flock, peer academic leader, were all really great experiences where I got to meet a bunch of different people outside of the theater majors, which was a really great experience. But then also really diving into the program and whatnot, into the musical theater program and getting to know each and every student. I am one of the very few who actually knows every name of every musical theater student. So that was a great honor and privilege from being a part of so many organizations there. But kind of the main reasons I joined all of these programs, I have several different, but the main one was giving back. I became a PAL because I remember my first year. I'm not from Texas. I moved out of state to come to college here, and I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have many friends. I was really kind of struggling to make that transition from high school to college. And I wanted to help people who were like me and whatnot. And the PAL job came up on what used to be Snap Jobs. And I just thought it was a really great opportunity. And I got to know the staff and Ransom Hall and everything. And they were so great. And for the past 3 years, I've helped students with their transition into college. So I really got to kind of give back to people who helped me to try to, get me into college and whatnot. And I thought that was really important. I also learned to lead even when you follow. That was a big thing that Flock taught me. That was my first year. Because in high school, I kind of was the leader. That sounds a little cocky, but I was in a lot of leadership positions in high school. I was my student council president. I was a category captain of my speech team. I was a part of metro area student ambassadors. So I had a lot of opportunities where I was the leader and I was calling a lot of the shots. And when I got to Flock and whatnot, I was nervous and new and didn't really want to like step into those big leadership positions right off the bat. And so I learned very quickly that you can still be a leader even when you're following other people, and to support those people leading and to lead by example, which is another one I have on the list, and still be an exemplary person and inspire others even when you're not necessarily dictating what others do or giving the instructions or being the figurehead. And I thought that was a really important lesson to learn. It wasn't something that I knew before, so it was really important for me to have that experience. Leading with others. Now, that is something that I've really come into this year with the Musical Theater Advisory Council, because it is 1 to 2 members from each grade of our musical theater department were voted on and voted onto this council. And so it's a lot of compromising and communicating and trying to work with people who have very different opinions and perspectives than you. Because me and my other cohort of the seniors have very different views on how our department runs and what our department is based on, or versus the freshmen who have a very new experience, who haven't known a lot of things in past. So leading with others was a big thing that I kind of learned with this year, and really kind of ironing out that communication and coordinating with others. Kind of talked about leading by example, but as a PAL, I was encouraged and obligated to have a really put together presence on and off campus, by having good grades and being exemplary to my students and really giving someone to inspire something great to be, instead of kind of being in front of the classroom and being like, okay, well, she's not very great, so I'm not going to be very great. And then organization, oh my goodness, that is a big thing that you learn when you're doing all of these things through LHP and through the musical theater department and everything. A lot of my professors were like, yeah, 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 you're organized. And I was like, I got there eventually, but it was a really big challenge that I had to learn. And LHP is a big part to think about that. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. Um, and then I just have a photo of PAL training last year just to have how many people I got to meet through those wonderful experiences that I never would have if I would have joined, if I wouldn't have become a peer academic leader. Leadership knowledge. So when asked to define leadership, I personally now think it's exemplifying what you believe in, what you believe is right in order to encourage cooperation and growth in others. Um, if you would have asked me 4 years ago, ooh, there we go. If you would have asked me 4 years ago, that wouldn't have been my definition. It definitely would have been more someone like someone in a position of power, inspiring others and whatnot. And I think through all of my experiences that LHP has encouraged me to do, I learned that you don't always need to be the forefront of being a leader. You can, I don't want to say sit back, that's not the correct word. You can follow, you can help others, you can be the person that is delegated to and still be a leader and still encourage others and inspire others without necessarily being that main person. And I think that was the biggest lesson that I kind of picked up through everything. And LHP is really what made me learn that, because there are so many wonderful members of LHP that, yes, they have some executive board positions, but then they also have a lot of other activities where they're just trying to grow as people and give back. And you don't always need to be that figurehead to have that growth and to inspire others. And I thought that was really great. And then leadership challenges and successes. Man, were there so many. So the biggest thing is there really aren't many theater majors in the LHP program. There, I'm the only musical theater major that's ever been a part of, and very few theater majors do it. And we have a very unique major. I take 4 to 5 1 credit hour classes on top of my regular school load. So I just take more classes, and time management became a really big struggle for me. And trying to find time to fit in all of the LHP requirements, just because I pretty much take class from 8 to 5 with the exception of my senior year every year. And so that was really hard. And then I always have rehearsals from 6 to 10 at night, being in theater. So I found that that was really a hard thing. And trying to find that time management skill was important. But also, a lot of the opportunities offered in the weekly LHP emails don't necessarily gear towards a theater major, just because it's not something that they typically deal with. They definitely, it's more driven towards business or nursing or engineering, or kind of like standard majors. And I remember my second year, I was really struggling with this because I didn't want to just go to a bunch of seminars just to go to seminars. I wanted to learn and I wanted to grow. And I sat down and I had a really great conversation with Veronica, where she really helped me like inspire myself and realize that there are things that I do in the theater department that can count for these. So overcoming those challenges, it was really important to learn that communication is key and to ask for help. Because without that conversation with Veronica, I don't know if I would be here finishing my LHP program. It was just a wonderful opportunity. And that acting master classes I've taken can work for your personal management workshops, because that is what is personal management to me and to my future career. So learning that communication is key, asking for help, thinking outside the box. I talked to several other LHP and Follett Student Leadership Center members, and kind of talked about their program and whatnot, and took what they did and then took kind of what I do and tried to mix them together to create my own unique program that worked for me. And I think that is how I came over all of the challenges. And then time management obviously just kind of came with time and asking others for help and seeing how others had time to fit things in. Global perspectives. So service is a big thing that they talk about in the Follett Student Leadership Center, as you may know. And it was really, really important for me to give back to other students. I talked about that as a PAL. It was something that I struggled with. And then on the Musical Theater Advisory Council, we are in charge of talking to our entire grade, seeing where they're at, seeing where they're struggling, seeing what the department as a whole can do to help. And I really enjoy that. I want to help my classmates. I want everyone to be successful, and I care about others. And so the service element really came impacting me through PAL and through the Musical Theater Advisory Council. And I like being a role model. I like being someone that the underclassmen can look up to and helping them. Just yesterday, I was helping a little freshman with her schedule because she was overwhelmed. She's like, I don't know what to take. And I was like, well, this is what we take. And so I think that is kind of the element of service I lean into, because being a good leader is being a selfless leader. Selfish leaders really just end up having their peers kind of turn against them and not really feel connected to. So kind of including that selflessness and wanting to help other people is really important. And I thought I did that through my time here at UTA. And then legacy left behind. I talked about this with Veronica on my very first meeting with her over Maverick Leadership Scholars. I really want it to be accessible for theater students to do the LHP program, because I think I learned so much through it. And it's really disappointing that they just think they can't do it because they get overwhelmed or they think it's not targeted towards them. And it really can be. So I want to show that you can make your LHP experience your own. You can, take what your major's offering and what your major's giving you and what you're interested in and have it work for the program, so that the Leadership Honors Program isn't just for what we call typical majors or STEM majors or, business and stuff like that, but it can be for all majors. So you learn and you get to have these experiences and you get to grow in leaders, because there are leadership positions in theater. We talk about it all the time. There's dance captains, there's assistants, there's all of these wonderful things that you can grow and benefit from through doing LHP and have leadership experience for your theater career. But I think a lot of people are intimidated by it because they don't think it's for them. And so that was kind of my big thing about doing the LHP program, is I tell theater majors that they can. And I really want, LHP to be able to reach out and really show that each experience can be your own, so that you are able to have these wonderful experiences and this growth. And it doesn't just have to be for a standard major. And then making connections. I've met so many people throughout my leadership journey, and each person just touches you a little differently. They leave something with you that you would never have known. And I think that was really powerful. And I think that will help with my future career, meeting so many different people. So yeah, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Drew, thank you for coming to my Legacy Project presentation for the Leadership Honors Program. So my name is Brenda Pinto. I'm a business marketing and management double major from the University of Texas at Arlington, and I'm graduating this semester, class of 2021. So a quick outline of what I'll be presenting on today. I will be reviewing the experiences and what I've taken away from my leadership practice knowledge, the challenges and successes I have faced, along with the global perspective I have gained and the legacy I hope to leave behind at UTA. So beginning with leadership practice. One of the main reasons why I decided to get involved at UTA to begin with was actually because of an experience that I had in high school. So I went to a really rigorous charter school, and I learned very early on kind of the challenges that lay ahead because of reasons such as socioeconomic status, zip codes, and just what that meant in terms of resources and access to resources and accessibility to resources. And so this played a critical role in deciding, one, where I wanted to go to college. I knew that I had to be essentially smart about the situation because it was a cost that I was incurring on my own. And additionally, to make up for some of the involvement that I wasn't able to participate in my time at my high school. And so getting involved was something that was at the top of my list. And those main reasons were for networking and personal growth. I believe that I hadn't participated because I hadn't gotten the opportunity to participate enough in high school. And this was something that I knew that was going to be essential, not only for my business degree that I was choosing, but also for the connections and the opportunities that would open up for me in doing so. And to be honest, at first, I was nervous because I was just intimidated by the word leadership. And so I had this shift in mentality in what leadership is. So I went my first semester of my freshman year at UTA, not being involved to get settled in with my grades. And the two organizations that I was looking to apply and ended up joining my spring semester was Freshman Leaders on Campus with the Fall Student Leadership Center and the BNSF Early Leaders Program, which leads to the Goalsby Leadership Academy later on in your later years. And originally, I was intimidated by leadership because I had the idea that to be a leader, one needed to be essentially a natural born leader. And I didn't feel that I fit that type. And so this was kind of a myth that was debunked almost immediately with my involvement at the Fall Student Leadership Center, and also when I began working with Dr. Hubbard, who is the director of the Goalsby Leadership Academy. And I began to learn that leadership is a journey. It's a practice that can be put into place if you're willing to embark on it. And in the sum of these experiences, I really am able to say that joining Freshman Leaders on Campus and going on to join the BNSF Leaders Program really opens the door for the next opportunity. And then that opportunity opened the door for the next opportunity. And so after having the experience of being a part of a professional organization, I decided that the realizations that I made, I can assist others in doing as well. So that is when I became advisor for Freshman Leaders on Campus the following year. And I also decided to join my sorority, Sigma Lambda Gamma, National Sorority Incorporated, which I will talk about later on in the presentation. And this really was critical in my leadership journey because it made me think about more about the vision in what I'm doing, what I want to do, and what impact is really what I want to leave behind and to who. And so I began to think more about the issues and the communities and the type of individuals that I thought that I could assist and that I could be there for. And so to sum it all up, that small portion of my story is that it began as a networking experience, which really was a start of my journey. And now, along with the career that I have and the undergraduate degree that I will be obtaining, it really makes me think in the type of messaging that I want to put out into the world with marketing and the type of groups and individuals that I hope to impact. And now moving on to leadership knowledge. So, my definition of leadership is that it can be learned through very extensive and detailed personal reflection, but also by seeking feedback and having a commitment to serving others. And so, this is something that I touched on the last slide, in that if you're able to put it to practice and if you're able to commit to not only gaining a better understanding of yourself, but also understanding how you work with others, you are a leader who is on the track to being able to influence a lot of people. And so pictured here is my participation with the Goalsby Leadership Academy. And I believe that my involvement with not only the Paulus Student Leadership Center, but also the Goalsby Leadership Academy really allowed me to do both of those things. I was constantly being asked to do reflections. I was constantly being asked to do workshops, which at first I almost didn't see how it would tie into really having an impact on myself. But this really allowed me to gain a better understanding of who I am, what my strengths are, what my weaknesses are, and how I best collaborate with others as well. And so this definition of leadership is one that really resonates with me because I believe that it leaves the door open to those who really want to put in the work and to be learning about leadership and becoming a better leader can do so and are able to do so as well. And so very quickly, a small SWOT analysis, and this is essentially what I think my involvement with the Leadership Honors Program has taught me to do as well. With every level, there are a certain set of tasks that challenge you in different ways. And so I think that through these challenges, you are almost challenged to better understand your strengths, weaknesses, and where you can develop, and your blind spots essentially and things that you need to improve. And this is also a way of thinking that I commonly find myself doing just with my undergraduate degree. I'm a business major and we are always doing SWOT analyses, and we're also always doing them personally for ourselves, for our future career, but also thinking on a larger scale for an organization. And so listed here are a few, but some of my strengths that I have come to identify with, but also the weaknesses that I have as well, that I will also touch on later on within the presentation. So moving on to my challenges and successes. So this is going to tie into the SWOT analysis that I had discussed. So I encountered many challenges. The first one was the one with myself in really breaking down that I am capable of being a leader and capable of representing what a leader looks like. And so that began with establishing how I present myself. And I really was able to do this kind of through the lens of my major as well. What do I want to go into my personal brand? But also, as I began to get more involved and as I began to join these organizations on campus, I also began to join these communities of like-minded individuals and establish things that I care about as well. So for example, I mentioned that I joined Freshman Leaders on Campus. And to me, that is an opportunity for young individuals to begin thinking, looking, dressing, acting professionally. I joined Sigma Lambda Gamma, and that is where you have to represent an organization that is a national organization, but also give back to the community. So how are you going to do both of those things effectively? Moving on, I definitely had a challenge with respecting policies and levels of administration. And so to explain what this is, it ties into kind of that professionalism piece, and that is really being in a professional organization such as the Goolsbee Leadership Academy and my involvement with the Follett Student Leadership Center. There are levels, there are policies in place that you have to get by in order to host programming on campus that's open to the UTA community or to the Arlington community. You cannot procrastinate because you have to be respectful of others' deadlines. And in doing so, you have to be able to communicate effectively in order to get what you need from all these different levels of administration. And so at first it was kind of breaking down that initial, this is where you go to get it, and I just have to walk in there and tell them what I need and why I need it and advocate essentially for my organization. And so this was something that I most definitely learned with Freshman Leaders on Campus, because it was all about how you can program events on campus while also finding your own leadership style along the way. And this was something that I learned, that I am a leader essentially, but I like to call myself a background leader in that I'm pulling the strings from the back. And so that's putting together events, and that's putting together meaningful marketing pieces for others to be influenced by. And so as my involvement continues, I joined the Goolsbee Leadership Academy, and then essentially I joined Ignite at UTA my junior year. And I am confronted with the next challenge of balancing tasks. And this was the most critical challenge that I faced, along with, because it segues directly into delegating and knowing when to be a follower. I found myself kind of in this need of control and saying yes to all these tasks, but not just because I couldn't say no, but because I essentially kind of wanted for things to be done my way. And it wasn't until I had this conversation with an advisor at the Leadership Center that it was explained to me that that is where trust comes into play. And if you are taking on tasks for that reason, so that you can oversee it directly, it becomes a control factor. And in that case, you are not being a good leader because you're inhibiting other people from growing by not knowing when to be a follower. And so this was an extremely pivotal point in knowing how to delegate, how to effectively collaborate with others. And that is something that I most definitely saw with my organization at Ignite. That's all about civic engagement, and that I will be talking about in just a second. And now moving on to global perspective. I believe that global perspective has been one of the most major components that I have grown in. I was never someone that participated in service regularly with my family, and even rarely in high school. And so this was something fairly new that I ended up doing at the very beginning of my college career at UTA and began to consistently find myself coming back to throughout my college career. And so, some of the ways that this has changed over time is that I have begun to tie what I'm doing with a purpose, essentially, in everything that I do. And as I've progressed along with my undergraduate career in marketing as well, I found similarities in both. And so, really, in marketing, as a marketing assistant for the Leadership Center, and also as a marketing coordinator for my other position at a nonprofit organization, I really have to sit down and see who I'm serving, what is the appropriate message, and how will it most effectively reach that group, and what are the resources they have in place to hear this message. And so that is the same way that I view service. Pictured, you see my sorority, and we actively and regularly participate in service with the highway cleanup right down Pioneer. So pay attention for our sign when you're driving down, and along with our philanthropies, breast cancer awareness, and TRIO programs. And as we began to get more hands-on with these philanthropies is really when I began to see the people and the stories behind the cause. And this really ignited in my passion for civic engagement, and even more so again with my involvement with Ignite. So I joined Ignite around the same time as election season. And so it was a very hectic season because this organization is all about one, empowering civic engagement among your group, but also it was established on the idea that women deserve a voice and a place in politics. And so some of our workshops and some of our events looked like researching your ballots to see who would be on your ballot. It was researching the voting polls in your area and assisting those and getting educated, and as well as writing letters to your local officials on issues that matter to you and your community. And so through this service, I was able to connect what the service was to bring an awareness to a greater social issue. So for example, for Ignite, that's going to be voter suppression. For Sigma Lambda Gamma, that's going to be surviving breast cancer or inaccessibility to resources for incoming college students, providing a fair opportunity to those who will be attending university. And so this is one of the most direct ways that service has impacted my leadership development. It's made me become a more intentional individual and essentially what I want to do and why, and approaching something with the idea that not only do I have something to learn, but I also have something to offer. And finally, to my legacy, I want to share a quote that this is really what encompasses what I think my legacy is. It's focused on one specific issue. While I don't minimize myself to the fight for women's rights, it is definitely the initiative within it saying, I stand on the sacrifices of a million women before me, thinking, what can I do to make this mountain taller so the women after me can see further? And so essentially, that's what I truly hope my legacy to be, is that every year I found a beauty in being a beginner. And I believe that there's always work to be done and there's always a job well done to be done. So, whatever position you are in, whether it is a membership position, whether you hold a title, there is always something good that you can do within your space to impact those around you. Short term, what that looks like is my marketing career. So as mentioned, this is an example of what I do when I oversee marketing. I oversee marketing for Ignite, for Goalsby, for the Leadership Center, for my other position with a nonprofit organization. And I found that that is definitely a passion of mine, to continue contributing to projects through meaningful marketing and advocating for marginalized communities and resources in the area. And that is all I have for my legacy project. Why am I emotional at the end of this? Thank you so much.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Leadership Honors Program Advancement Ceremony for the Spring 2021 semester. My name is Elizabeth Rodriguez, and I'm currently serving as one of the student directors for the Leadership Honors Program. Today, we are going to be recognizing all of our LHP graduates from our program, in addition to everybody that is advancing one or more tiers within the program. Before we do jump into it, however, I do want to say that this will be my last semester serving as a student director, but I wanted to share a few words with you guys and tell you that I'm so proud of each and every one of you. You guys have immensely grown over this academic year and have blossomed and accomplished so many things. But now I'm gonna go ahead and let our other student director, Drew Chan, share a few of her words and transition into the advancement ceremony. Last minute, just want to say congratulations, and I hope you all have a great semester. Bye.
Hi guys, my name is Drew Chan, and I'm one of the student directors for the Leadership Honors Program. I just want to say congratulations to all those who are advancing and staying with us for another year. It's been our pleasure working with you all and seeing you all grow into the leaders that you aspire to be. As the semester is about to come to an end, we want to thank you also for giving us this opportunity to learn so much about leadership and serving others. For those that are continuing their leadership journey in LHP, you'll be in good hands with the succeeding student directors. Much appreciation from the bottom of my heart. Thank you all for this amazing year.
Hello, everyone. My name is Prince Nedu, and I'd like to congratulate all of our members that are graduating from the Leadership Honors Program and also advancing through the different levels of the Leadership Honors Program. I know this semester has been a long semester for a lot of us because of the hybrid format and also the online format of being on campus, but we also do have students that are not on campus that are being students from out of state, from out of the country, and I would like to really, applaud you students for being a pillar to your organization and just also working to grow your leadership skills. I would like to congratulate the accomplished members that are finally graduating, are going to be walking across the stage. Congratulations to you all for being astounding leaders on campus, especially in your organizations. We know that your legacy left on campus will be impacted by individuals at the UTA community, and we just like to thank you all for being part of this journey of being a Leadership Honors Program member. And we know that you all made an impact just because of the presentations that you all presented to us, and we really want to just thank you all for being able to be the students that you are, being the leaders that were vulnerable, being the leaders that knew that there were challenges going to be ahead, but you still persevered and pushed through. Once again, thank you and congratulations on graduating from the Leadership Honors Program. And now we will get to the names of students advancing.
Advancing through the emerging level, Ureli Duran, Eleanor Johnson, Zara Khan, Mi Liu, Polani Martinez. Now advancing through the intermediate level, Burkak Sanar, Haley Hicks, Ishmet Isik, Nabitika Katkat, Pernille Lay, Ishu Pakdro, Daniela Salazar, Ohita Reddy Sana, Christina Bo. Advancing through the advanced level, Tritima Achibu, Ishu Pakdro, Natasha Puran, Sandhya Ray. Now for our accomplished members that are graduating through the program, Benor George, Serene Kadar, Felicia Shatpit, Wesley Hampton, Mavrina Purawal, Natasha Puran, Kevin Chawla, Sandhya Ray, Peter Tran, Smriti Shakia, Heather Pavlik, James Brady, Elizabeth Rodriguez, Drew Walker, Megan Deshane, Brenda Pinto, Alyssa Teherina, Kajal Jane from the graduate program.
Leadership Honors Program graduates and also advancees want to say congratulations to you. We're so excited for you. You have done it in a year where we have been in and out, hybrid and also in person, racked by COVID. You all have persisted through. Nevertheless, you persisted. And so I want to say congratulations to you. Thank you for investing in yourself. Thank you for investing in the program. And we are excited to help you to continue to invest in your leadership growth and development over the next few years. If you got time with us and if you are graduating out, we're excited to see where you go and how it is that you impact the world around you. We'll see you soon. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great summer.